Hi everyone, welcome back to Canary Cast. This is the morning after Norwich City beat Birmingham 1-0 at Carrow Road. The first time the Canaries have strung together consecutive wins since the last two games of 18-19. Jacob, feeling happy this morning?
That's it, mate. You can't feel anything else after a win. I'm very, very happy.
Good man. And of course you can see Craig joins us. Craig, how you doing, mate? And how did you find last night?
I'm good, mate. Getting very carried away over two back-to-back wins. So
Yeah.
Let's go and win the league.
Yeah, it's Wickham this weekend as well, so it's going to get even worse in a bit, but we'll move on to that. Let's talk selection because Hugh Gill, Pookie, Camwell and Wendy are all in the same team. Jacob, you were very excited about that.
Yeah, it was interesting how it planned out. Obviously, you're thinking that Timu's going to drop at number 10. It didn't really work like that, did it? It was kind of a 4, then 2-2, which worked, I thought, quite well in the first half. I think Birmingham were struggling, especially towards the end. It was Norwich were doing everything but score. Second half, I think it came up a little bit more predictable, but it was nice to see again Daniel Farke being proactive. I think Adam Eden needed to be taken out of the game. And to be fair, I still think Mario Vrancic needed to be included earlier, but you can't fault Ollie Skip and Lucas Rook's performance at all.
Yeah. Craig, what did you think of the new shape and Pookie in the sort of new position?
I thought it worked well. I think it gave Pookie a lot more freedom. I think also sort of took the pressure off him because there's been a lot of pressure on him to get the goals when Hugo's up there with him. I was shocked that Todd started, to be honest. When he's not played for a few weeks, and they said he had a knock last week, but he came in and done a good job. So yeah, it was a bit of a shock, but I think it worked well. I think on another day we scored 4 or 5 goals last night.
Yeah.
But
Agreed. It's those chances in the first half, really, isn't it? If we tuck them away, we win that probably 3 or 4-0, Jacob.
Yeah, well, I think Todd did. I think, like Craig said, with Todd coming in, he actually dragged the players out a lot more. It was a lot better than Derby, where they literally just sat. And we did not move Curtis Davis, Matt Clark at all. But they were really struggling last night, weren't they, Birmingham? There was a lot of last-ditch tackles, and that's what you want to see, like, actually opportunities being created. I saw again, like, I don't know how you can be moaning after a 1-0 win, but like so many, we've only had 4 shots on target and stuff like that. The amount of shots blocked, I think that kind of counts as not on target or whatever, but there's so many opportunities. And to be fair to Norwich, they did really well. And second half, it did kind of get a bit of a lull, didn't it? And we were like, oh, crikey, it's going to be another 0-0. The fans would have helped a lot more, but glorious Mario. Daniel Farke's been reading my tweets. I told him it's screaming out for him, screaming out for Mario. Daniel was on his little iPad looking at it and going, yeah, all right, we'll put him on. I will take my winner's fee, Daniel, just stick it in the post.
I knew you'd be unbearable about that this morning. I just knew it. I knew it was coming. Craig, just quickly on Birmingham, they were pretty poor, weren't they? They were quite happy to just sit there in their 2 banks of 5 and 4. And I mean, we are going to get a lot of that this season, teams coming to Carrow Road, but they weren't very impressive, were they?
no, you can see they had a game plan which was similar to Derby, which was just sit back, soak up the pressure, and wait for Norwich to make a mistake, which we tend to do a lot of the time last season. But they, even when they had the chances to counter, they didn't really do it. I think if you're going to sit back and defend the way they did, you got to break quickly, haven't you, to get something. They didn't really do it. They had a couple of chances at the very end, but apart from that, there wasn't really much. If you're sitting there watching that as a Birmingham fan, you're going to be not happy at all. You're thinking, where are we going, sort of what's going on.
Yeah. Norwich completely controlled the entirety of the game in truth, but especially the first half. 76% possession, 13 shots, Jacob, but we just need to start converting them more, don't we? And Daniel Farke alluded to much post-match.
Yeah, I think the first half we were a lot better than the second half. Todd unlucky with the first one. He's on the floor, gets up. I can understand him missing that. If he was actually standing up a little bit quicker, he scores it. Second one, he has to square it to Timu. That's obvious. And yeah, there's just so many opportunities, wasn't there? And luckily, I think, like Craig said, Birmingham didn't really look a threat in behind, really, apart from Lecco, and his final pass was poor. Sanchez is so left-footed, it was easy to kind of close him off quickly enough. And Norwich could just keep going. The fullbacks just literally stayed as wingers, basically, didn't they? It was just so easy to just keep going, rampaging forwards without any kind of threat in behind of us kind of conceding. So the goal was thoroughly deserved, and like you say, we do need to take those chances a lot quicker and earlier, just for my heart rate.
Yeah, agreed. Let's talk about those chances a bit now, and especially Jordan Hugh Gill, Craig, because we haven't heard from you about Hugh Gill yet. And there was a couple of nice moments in the first half where he had his chance. There was a nice one where he the ball was going out for a goal kick, and he pushed the defender away and got his shot off. What have you made of him generally, and what did you think of him last night?
I mean, I like him as a player. I like the fact that a long ball over the top, he's just going to shove an elbow in and he'll hit the defender. I think that's something we've missed, is that physical presence. I like the fact that he'll win headers in both boxes. You know, we haven't had a striker who'll come back and win a header from a corner in a while. I'm not sure if the way we played last night really suits him. You know, he is more of a target man than he is sort of the nice little football here and there sort of player. So I don't know whether, when we're playing the way we are, when we know the other team's going to sit back, whether that suits Pookie up front more, whether it suits Ida up front more, because he's got the pace to get him behind. But, you know, he put in a good shift. There was at one point when he nicked it off the defender on the byline, and I don't know if he should have passed it or whatnot, but, you know, he's had a solid 60 minutes. You know, I don't think you can really complain about it. And then obviously he took his penalty really well at the weekend. So,
yeah, happy days. Jacob, let's talk about Todd Camwell. He had a goal disallowed last night, of course, rightly so, but absolutely ran the show for my money.
Yeah, I agree, mate. It was quite funny. Got a few tweets saying, I bet you're like annoyed that Todd Camwell's playing well. I'm like, no, there's no vendetta there, because I'm in a win-win. If Todd Camwell plays well, Norwich play well, we win. Brilliant. Yeah. If Todd Camwell doesn't play well, I can just go and moan. No, he was, and it shows like that pressing game. He obviously wasn't fully on it. Like for him to have been out of it for 3-4 weeks and to come in with that sort of performance, he ran his socks off. And that's all you want from a Norwich player. I don't care if he's from Durham, wherever he's from, bloody Slovakia. I don't care if he runs about, puts in full commitment and effort. I think he. There's times where he looked rusty, and he said that after the game himself, where just the final ball wasn't fully there, or he took an extra touch when he didn't need to. But all in all, yeah, very good performance. And to be fair to him, hopefully now he's focused. Daniel Farker said, didn't he, that during the international break there, they had a talk, and yeah, seems to be a little bit more clear that he's going to be vital for this team. Like I was saying earlier, he drags players out of position. He picks up spaces really well. He's developed that part of his game fantastically well, and draws a lot of fouls. Like the amount of Birmingham fouls he got yesterday. Obviously, got Adam Clayton sent off for the second yellow, and that kind of that 60 seconds made the difference, didn't it? Birmingham were all over the shop really for the only time in the game where they weren't fully in a regimented back 5-4-1. So yeah, massive credit to him, and hopefully it continues.
Okay, Craig, let's talk about subs, because we always seem to do this with Daniel Farker. What did you make of the subs last night? The first one was obviously Hugh Gill for Ida, and then Vrancic eventually came on. I think it was about the 80th minute in the end.
Just after my tweet.
Yes. He loves a late substitution, doesn't he? You know, I think the game was getting a bit stale. Could you have brought Mario on earlier? I think it was clear that we didn't really need Ollie Skip sitting so defensively because they weren't pushing anything forward. If you'd have brought Mario on in the 30th or 60th minute and gave him half an hour at the end, it'd have probably created 2 or 3 more goals. So yeah, I think there's always the idea he could have done it earlier, but I think at the same time we know with Farker he likes to leave it till the 75th, 80th minute, and I don't think that's going to change now. He's not changed for 4 years. It's not going to change now.
I thought the subs were right, actually, but I think I would have made them in the other order. Got Vrancic on first. Jacob, agreed?
I didn't see really the point of Ida coming on, especially with such a flat back. Like there wasn't any space in behind. Yeah. I guess Hugh Gill was kind of spent after not really playing that much football really for Norwich. So I can understand it. To be fair, Ida gets the assist. I know it's a little bit of a lucky one, but he did cause a threat in behind. Yeah, like Craig said, Mary needs to come on earlier, but that's just the way you're going to be. I think the point that Norwich had, you could throw a blanket over majority of the attacks. It's just that Daniel Farker and this Norwich City side love to score the perfect goal, don't they? It has to be narrow, it has to be intricate. And Emi Buendia, that's why I spoke to you, like that ball for Todd Camwell's offside goal, no one else in the league can play that pass just from deep. He is incredible talent. And when he's on it, I think his defensive work was brilliant last night. He said they had one chance at the end. Hogan was about to pull the trigger. 1-1, Norwich bottle it again. There he is. Absolutely brilliant. And if he's fully committed again, he'll win all the awards for the Championship Player of the Year, all of that sort of thing. He just needs to improve on his finishing. That's probably the only thing that's held him back for a move. I'm still amazed he's here. I can't believe it. I'm so happy about it. But yeah, he's a fantastic footballer, and just happy to see 10 more weeks at least of him still as a Norwich City player.
Let's talk about the Adam Clayton red card, Craig, because it's the second time Norwich's opposition have had a red card in as many games. Do you think, I'll ask you the same as what I asked Jacob last week, do you think if they hadn't got that red card, do you think we win that game?
I mean, we were pushing for the whole of the game forward, weren't we? It didn't really change much in terms of the goal itself. I don't think it really. Obviously, they were just a bit out of it after the red card, and they sort of stopped concentrating for a minute. But I don't think you could really debate the red card. It was late on Todd. It was definitely a second yellow. I think that's something we're going to be good at this season, is that we do play so quick that we will draw a lot of fouls in, and the yellow cards will start picking up for teams, so that should help. But yeah, it was sort of just a minute of madness for Birmingham, wasn't it? Which cost them in the end.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the goal finally, because it did finally arrive. Jacob, talk us through it.
It was just Mario wonderful, wasn't it? I don't know. To be fair, Lucas Rupp, that was like Hogan's got the first touch he probably had in about 50 minutes. Tried to dribble past Lucas, and you're not getting a pass for Rapinho there, are you? He's just a world-class midfielder at this level. No, to be fair to him, that was a fantastic tackle, block tackle. Yeah. Then Ida kind of gets the ball, doesn't he? He looks like he wants to shoot himself. Yeah. But that's what I love about Mario Vrancic. It's just that first-time effort. We've seen it so many times. It's on his weak foot. He doesn't care. It reminds me a lot of Villa away. I know he didn't touch that first time, but it's just in the corner. Etheridge will maybe be disappointed he gets enough of a hand on it, maybe to try and tip it onto the post. He had a quite good game anyway, though, Etheridge. And he's only midfielder in that squad who can score, is he, in that two position. I'm really happy, or not happy. It's good to see that Kenny McLean's not playing due to it being Kenny McLean sort of thing. He has to now earn his place again, because Rupp's done fantastically well in the last couple of games for me. Skip is that extra little bit of quality you can see from Premier League level, can't you? And then Mario Vrancic offers something on the bench. So hopefully this gives Kenny again a kick up the arse and just gives that more competition for places.
Yeah, I don't think it was Mario's first touch, Craig, but he hadn't been on the pitch long. But I thought he took it really well, considering he'd only just come off the bench.
Yeah, it was a great finish. The thing with Mario is when he gets the ball, he's always looking forward, with Rupp or Skip or even McLean at times. Sometimes, they'll go forward a bit, it's not on, they'll go back. Whereas Mario's just looking forward. He'll try and feed a ball through, he'll put a ball over the top, and he just offers something totally different to anyone else.
So there you have it. Norwich won out 1-0 winners at home. Definitely deserved. We definitely controlled the whole game. Had to wait for it. Probably should have won by more in the end. Afterwards, I couldn't help feeling sorry for Birmingham fans, Jacob, because I know it's Karanka, but it would be very boring to watch every week, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I was just thinking exactly the same as you, mate. But then I had a few Birmingham fans I was talking to them, and it kind of seemed like, I'm not trying to big Norwich up here, but it seemed like if we'd gone away to a Liverpool, a Man U, and gone and lost 1-0 in the last 5 minutes, it really seemed like that they'd have such defensive ill discipline last season. I think they averaged like 3 goals conceding a game or something stupid like that. It was that high. And Karanka, what he's going to bring in. He's going to bring in that kind of defensive attitude. But us knowing Norwich, like if they'd gone anywhere near like what Derby did, press 5-10 yards higher up the pitch, even in the last 15-20, they probably nab a goal. And that's probably the disappointment there, because they have the players. Scott Hogan on his day is excellent. They're missing Jutkovic, so he's their main. If Lucas Jutkovic plays that game, it's a whole different game because he's hold-up man. He's horrible to play against. So I do just want to say that I think if they stay fit, Grant Hanley, Ben Gibson are the best centre-back partnership in the league. Yeah. Because I tell you what, Ben Gibson has been so impressive. I know he's not as mobile as Ben, so it could obviously draw those parallels between he's literally came in and replaced him. But defensively, he's excellent, isn't he? And he's such a leader. Grant Hanley is as well. Grant looks rusty. He nearly lost it to Hogan in the first half. The way he just runs through and just batters people, chests it off, that's just what you miss. I have fingers crossed that Grant stays fit, because those two could be very, very handy in the long run. Proper Brexit. I love it.
Yeah, it is. Jacob's just mentioned the best centre-half pairing in the league, Craig. I've said before about how good our defence looks on paper. What have you made of it so far this season? Is it as good as we say it is?
I think Hanley and Gibson will be a very solid centre-back. They're two proper old-school sort of centre-halves who'll win headers, who'll challenge when they need to, sort of thing. I think we do. The only thing I think we miss from having Ben Godfrey in the team was when we're sat back, Ben Godfrey will ping a 40-yard ball out to the right wing, whereas we don't have that coming out of the centre backs anymore. But I don't think there's many better you can get in this league than them two.
Yeah. Fair enough. I agree. Daniel Farker looked absolutely chuffed at full time, Jacob, with the clean sheet and the 3 points, I imagine.
Love to see that passion when the goal went in. Because he's a calm, collected guy. But I tell you what, as a football fan, you love to see your head coach, your manager, when there's a lot, or not last minute, but after such frustration, it's lovely to see him kind of just release it and just show that passion. It was great to see it. And yeah, we fully deserved it at the end of the day. If Birmingham steal a point, then you go, fantastic defensive display. But it was a lot better than Derby. I think if we drew 0-0 to Derby, I still would have been disappointed because we didn't create enough. But in that game, I'd say it should have been at least 2-3-0, really.
Yeah, here. Craig, talk to me about Lucas Rupp, because he's had a bit of a roller coaster at the start of his Norwich City career. Wasn't really rated by many, myself included. And then last 2 or 3 games has come out of nowhere and put in some really good performances.
I think he was rightly criticised last season. I think, he wasn't playing great. He didn't really make any positive impact to the team. But then I think now we can see he wasn't playing in his right position last season. He's not a right winger. He's not an Emi Buendia. He's never going to be. When we play him at centre mid, he can control a game. He's shown that in the last couple, and I think he's just grown in confidence every game that goes by now. I think the Bournemouth game was sort of a turning point for a lot of people, and he keeps growing ever since.
Jacob, you can go on with Rupp as well, because you were chuffed with him last night.
Yeah, 100%. The only caveat for him, and this is not a criticism, it's just the way it's going to be. There was so much space on the right and left-hand side, at fullbacks and on the wings. If we had a Mario Vrancic earlier, the tempo would have been a lot quicker because the passes would have been made quicker. But that's not his game, so I'm not going to pretend that he can make that pass because he can't. No, I think he's more of an Alex Teto replacement than Ollie Skip will be, simply because he's here longer term. I love his mobility and his agility. I can't remember the last time we had such a mobile and agile midfielder in there who could just nip in, take the ball, and then move along. I think, like Craig said, his confidence is definitely getting there because he's dribbling a lot more. Like we say, he does normally do 1-2 touch passes, but last night he just thought, hey, you know what? I've had a couple of shots, decent efforts, comfortable saves, but you never know. On another day, it takes deflection, goes in, and he's dribbling past 2-3 men. He's got that opportunity. He's got that kind of agility to be able to do that. He doesn't have a forward mind, does he? Let's be honest. When he gets in 25 yards out, he's not going to be like Emi Buendia, where he's got a whole graph of the pitch. He knows how to play those through balls. But for his position where he is, he's been absolutely excellent and can only hopefully continue and kind of continue to make that place his own alongside Ollie Skip.
Yeah, completely agree with all that. He's been brilliant the last 2 or 3 games. If I'm honest, I still think that if you're not winning the game after an hour, you hook him off and put Vrancic on. Craig, fair enough?
Yeah, that's fair enough. Mario's a lot more creative, isn't he, than Rupp is? But Rupp, he's been solid and long may it continue.
Yeah, absolutely. 90 minutes for both Emi and Todd last night, which is always encouraging. Everything seems to be forgotten, Jacob. They've moved on. It's
nice to see them play with a clear head, isn't it? And it won't be forgotten in terms of the group because, but they are match winners at the end of the day. And when they're winning games or making such big contributions, then all you can do is be positive. It's just nice to see everything kind of cleared now, isn't it? It was such a kind of cloud over Norwich, especially those first 2-3 games. But to see kind of the momentum slowly building, other kind of the noise, as Webber and Farke like to call it, kind of quieting down. That it's all squad focused now until January on the pitch, on the performances, and hopefully that can only improve us. We've got Wickham next, but then 2 huge games in Bristol City and Brentford. Yeah, which is they're huge games. Especially, I wouldn't say Bristol City might be controversial, won't be top 2 challengers. I don't think they've got that squad, but Brentford definitely will be. That's where you'll know the character at the end of the day. Even if you get 2 to 4 points from those 2 fixtures, then Norwich are going to be in and about it this season.
Craig, we're sat here talking about back-to-back wins for the first time in a long while. Are we going to make it 3 consecutive on Saturday against Wickham at Carrow Road?
I think we have to. No offence to Wickham, but they've scored 1 goal this season and they've lost every game. Every team in this league should be looking at Wickham and thinking we need to beat them. That's no offence to Wycombe, but they're the weakest team in this league. You know, they've never been in this league before. So if we really want to push on this season, these games we have to win.
Must win, Jacob, with Brentford on the horizon, like you said.
Oh, 100%. The only thing I worry about is physicality again. You know, Joe Jacobson is very famous for scoring from corners. They're left back and he's very good at free kick set pieces in general. That's what they'll play off. They'll play off second balls, trying to win second balls, win it up high up the pitch and try and get a jammy goal. Like Craig said, they scored one goal and that's because Białkowski tried to do a Cruyff turn and Scott Cashpit's come in and tackled him. It's gone in the net. Yeah. They will be very solid defensively. They will play their hearts out. If you get an early goal against them, we'll win comfortably. If it stays 0-0, the longer it stays 0-0, the more kind of agony we'll get at home. Yeah. The players will be fine because the crowd aren't on their back. But Wycombe will believe. It's a horrible sense of along come Norwich, but they're so short of the requirement of quality in this league. I would be, no offence to Wycombe, I'd be embarrassed if we don't beat them.
Yeah, no, I think I would be too. Right, I think we'll leave it there, chaps, because we seem to have covered everything. Craig, thanks for joining us again, mate.
Cheers, mate. It's been good.
Yeah, come back whenever you like. Jacob, anything else you want to mention?
No, mate, just I'm waiting for Daniel's fee. That's all. No, make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Leave a comment if you're happy with like the Norwich performance, Lucas Rupp, how he's turned into Ronaldinho. And we'll be back on Saturday, won't we, Joe, to react to hopefully a smashing of Wycombe.
We certainly will. We'll see you Saturday afternoon, I would imagine.
Afternoon.
But until then, enjoy the rest of your week. Like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. See you later.